There are moments in life when silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. You've probably been there, lied about, betrayed, pushed to explain yourself over and over, only to be misunderstood or made to look guilty. That's exactly why there are 7 times you must stay silent and let karma handle what words never could. Not out of fear, but out of strength. Because when you stop reacting, something powerful happens. Think of it like an echo in the mountains. What you send out always returns. The pain they caused, the lies they spread, the masks they wear, it all comes back. Not by force, not by revenge, but by the quiet force of karma. Stay with me, because number 7 will make you see silence in a way you never have before. There's a kind of strength the world doesn't recognize at first. The strength of restraint, the wisdom of walking away, the power of staying silent. Stoic philosophers knew this long before the word karma became common. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike your enemy." In other words, your silence isn't surrender, it's mastery. We live in a world that rewards loud reactions and quick clapbacks. But real power doesn't rush to defend itself. It doesn't argue to be understood. It waits. It watches. It acts with intention, not impulse. And that's what this video is about. Not just silence, but strategic silence. The kind that protects your peace, preserves your dignity, and lets karma do the work no voice ever could. Let's begin. 1. When someone lies about you. Few things feel more unfair than being lied about. Your instinct is to speak up, to set the record straight, to make sure the truth is heard. But here's the painful truth. The more you defend yourself, the more they twist your words. The more you explain, the more you look guilty. Because some people aren't interested in truth. They're interested in reaction. They want your energy, your frustration, your attention. This is where stoicism becomes a shield. Marcus Aurelius said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." That's your standard. Their lies don't define you. Your silence does. Let me tell you about James. He was accused of something at work, completely false. At first, he wanted to defend himself to every co-worker, to prove his innocence. But instead, he stayed calm. He kept doing his job. Weeks later, the truth surfaced. The person who lied had a history of manipulation. James didn't have to say a word. The lie collapsed under its own weight. So what do? First, trust the long game. Lies move fast, but truth endures. Second, guard your integrity. If you know who you are, their version of you doesn't matter. And finally, let karma speak louder than you ever could. Your silence is not submission, it's self-respect. 2. When someone betrays your trust. There's a unique kind of pain that comes from betrayal. It's not just the action, it's the break in something sacred. A friend, a partner, someone you believed in lets you down, and everything inside you wants to confront them, to ask why, to make them see what they did. But here's the truth. People who betray you have already justified it in their own mind. They've rewritten the story to make themselves right, even if it means painting you as the villain. Trying to explain only gives them more power to twist your words. Trying to make them feel guilty rarely works, because they don't feel guilt the same way you do. That's why silence becomes your armor. Seneca once said, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a person perfected without trials." Pain forces clarity. Betrayal forces growth. It shows you who belongs and who doesn't. Sarah had a best friend for over 10 years. They shared everything. But one day, Sarah learned that this friend had been talking behind her back, sabotaging opportunities. At first, Sarah wanted to confront her, but instead, she chose silence. No fight, no explanations, just distance, and that silence. It spoke louder than any argument. The friend expected drama. She got indifference. So what should you do? First, accept that not everyone is who you thought they were. Second, don't waste your words trying to teach them a lesson. They already know. And third, walk away with dignity. Betrayal doesn't need a response. Your silence is the closure. 3. When someone insults you, insults are designed for one thing: to pull you in. A passive-aggressive comment, a sarcastic jab, or a direct attack all have one goal: provoke you. And the moment you react, they win. Because now they control your emotions. You've entered their game. But here's the truth. Responding to insults only gives them value. Your anger validates their effort. Your defense gives weight to their words. But silence takes that power away. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." If someone is being cruel, petty, or disrespectful, why mirror that behavior? Why hand over your peace to someone who thrives on conflict? David was at a work event when a jealous co-worker mocked his promotion in front of others. Everyone waited for a reaction, but David just smiled, said nothing, and moved on. The co-worker was left standing there, exposed, because without the reaction he expected, his insult lost all force. So, how do you handle it? First, realize that insults reveal more about the person saying them than about you. Second, remember that silence is control. It says, "Your words don't touch me." And third, carry yourself with confidence, because the loudest response to disrespect is no response at all. 4. When they play the victim. Few things are more frustrating than dealing with someone who twists the story to make themselves look innocent. They leave out their actions, exaggerate yours, and suddenly you're the villain. And the more you try to explain, the worse it gets. Here's the truth. Some people don't want resolution. They want attention. They're not after truth. They're after control. If you argue, defend, or try to prove your side, you're feeding their performance. Epictetus once said, "To complain is always non-productive and never appropriate." When someone plays the victim, they're not solving anything. They're building an audience. So let karma do what your words can't. Rachel had a coworker who constantly played the victim. Anytime she was held accountable, she cried, twisted the story, and made Rachel look like the aggressor. At first, Rachel tried defending herself. Facts, logic, calm conversations. None of it worked. So she stopped. No more defending, no more reacting. And with time, the truth spoke louder than any explanation. People saw the pattern. The act wore thin, and the manipulator lost her power. So what can you do? First, don't argue. Their story feeds off your reaction. Second, stay calm and consistent. And third, trust karma. Let your silence uncover what their words try to hide. 5. When they ignore your worth. One of the hardest things to face is being taken for granted. You show up, you give, you care. But instead of appreciation, you're met with indifference. And your instinct might be to prove yourself, to remind them of your value. But here's the truth. The more you chase, the less they respect. People don't value what's always available. They assume it will always be there, until it's not. That's why silence is so powerful. When you stop proving, stop chasing, stop explaining, something shifts. Your absence speaks louder than your words ever could. Seneca once said, "Time discovers truth." And that's exactly what happens when you walk away with dignity. The right people notice. The wrong ones fade. Jake was always the one making the effort. The calls, the check-ins, the support. But when he stopped initiating, the silence was met with more silence. That told him everything. The ones who cared reached out. The ones who didn't disappeared. No confrontation, no guilt, just clarity. So what should you do? First, stop trying to convince anyone of your value. Second, observe who notices your silence. And third, Let your absence reveal your worth, because sometimes the only way people realize your value is when they lose access to it. 6. When they try to provoke you. Some people thrive on conflict. They poke, they prod, they say things just to get under your skin. And the moment you react, with anger, frustration, or defense, they win, because now they control the moment. Here's the truth. People who seek to provoke you don't want resolution. They want chaos. They feed off your energy. They want to pull you into their storm so they can feel in control. But when you stay calm, collected, and indifferent, that's real power. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. You can't stop people from trying to trigger you, but you can choose not to hand them your peace. Adam had a coworker who constantly made subtle jabs in meetings. At first, Adam defended himself, but he noticed it only escalated things, so he tried something new. The next time it happened, he smiled, gave a calm nod, and said nothing. Just silence, no reaction. And slowly the coworker stopped trying, because without the reaction, there was no reward. So how do you handle provocation? First, recognize the pattern. Second, stay calm and don't engage. And third, protect your energy. Your silence is a wall they can't climb. 7. When they regret losing you, there comes a moment when someone who took you for granted realizes what they lost. But by then, it's too late. And your instinct might be to explain, to remind them of what they had, but you don't need to. Let silence do the work. If someone truly valued you, they wouldn't have put themselves in a position to lose you. They didn't see your worth when you were there. They only see it now because they feel the void. And that's not appreciation. That's regret. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Walking away and staying away is the ultimate act of self-respect. It's not about punishing them. It's about protecting yourself. Olivia was in a long-term relationship where she gave everything: time, energy, love. But her partner assumed she'd always be there, until one day she wasn't. No argument, no warning, just silence. He thought she'd come back. Weeks passed, then months, and by the time he reached out, full of regret, Olivia had already moved on. So what do you do when they regret losing you? First, don't make it easy for them to return. Second, don't explain your silence. And third, remember, your peace is not up for negotiation. If they only recognize your value after you're gone, let them feel that. Let karma teach them the lesson your words never could. You've made it to the end, and that already says something powerful about you. You're not here to argue, to chase, or to prove yourself. You're here to protect your energy, to reclaim your peace, and to let karma handle what no explanation ever could. Silence isn't weakness, it's wisdom, it's restraint. It's the quiet strength that says, "I know my worth, and I don't need to shout to prove it." In a world that rewards reaction, you're choosing reflection, and that choice, that's power. So now I'll leave you with one question. Which one of these 7 moments hit you the hardest? Drop it in the comments. Let it be your reminder, your commitment. And if this message spoke to you, give it a like. Share it with someone who needs it. And subscribe for more insights that help you lead with dignity, not noise. Let them talk. Let karma answer. You stay grounded.